LBC TV host James O'Brien has had a literal meltdown live on air after someone said something he didn't agree with. What makes this more embarrassing is the fact that he's literally the TV host and he's doing this on his TV show. It's absolutely ridiculous. Without further ado, let's have a watch of this. Make sure you do like and subscribe.
There's every possibility that you hadn't heard of Nick Timothy before yesterday, in which case, goodness me, do I envy you. But you were certainly aware of some of his greatest hits. He's the fellow that told Theresa May to call a general election that she very nearly lost to Jeremy Corbyn. I think he was responsible for the go-home vans that were one of the hallmarks of Theresa May's time at the Home Office. He is, I think the technical term is, a bigoted idiot. But of course we live in an age where we live in the age of the bigoted idiot. Bigoted idiots can become prime ministers. At least 2 of the last 4 prime ministers were bigoted idiots. The idea that bigoted idiots had no place on the front line of British politics was under enormous strain last year and broke completely when Kemi Badenoch failed to fire Robert Jenrick for being a bigoted idiot about brown faces on the streets of Birmingham, making her probably the first Tory Prime Minister since... Would Harold Macmillan have sacked somebody for that? Because Ted Heath did. Ted Heath did sack Enoch Powell for being a bigoted idiot. And again, Powell's idiocy is a very intelligent man in many ways. His bigotry is not debatable, but his idiocy, like Boris Johnson's, is a little bit more nuanced than Nick Timothy's or Liz Truss's or indeed honest Bob Jenrick's. They are more idiot. Well, they are 52-48. In the case of a Powell or a Johnson, perhaps the ratio is a little more complicated. But Ted Heath did. John Major definitely would have. Margaret Thatcher would have done in a heartbeat.
So if you can't tell already, James O'Brien twerks for Labour. He's good friends with Keir Starmer and he's absolutely outraged at what Conservative MP Nick Timothy said with regards to the IFTA situation in London, where we saw hundreds of thousands of Muslims praying in Trafalgar Square rather unnecessarily. A lot of people agreed with what Nick Timothy said, including a lot of the Conservative MPs. However, Keir Starmer was outraged and called for this man to be sacked because he said something he didn't agree with. So clearly no free speech in this country. James O'Brien also mentions previous comments Robert Jenrick made about Birmingham and there being a lot of brown faces, which sounds to me like a factual statement. So how can you expect someone to be sacked for saying a factual thing? Makes no sense whatsoever. But guys, let me know your thoughts on James O'Brien and what he said here. He's having an absolute meltdown over a couple of words that he disagrees with, and of course he's throwing out that word bigot, racist, etc. all the time as well. It's so tiresome. It doesn't hold any weight anymore whatsoever. Make sure you do like, comment and share. Thank you. Take care. Goodbye.